Hey, everybody. YouTube says I'm live. I am alive and live. Trying to figure audio confirmed. All right. Let's rock. What do you know about your flag, Americans? I hope you know more than me. I need to know more. For a fact, I need to know more than I know. But for a fact, I know some things. Have knowledge of some things. And so I want to talk about some of this stuff. And I think it's appropriate. Tinfoil. Are you supposed to respect your flag? Are you supposed to let it touch the ground? Are you supposed to fold it properly? When it's worn out, is there a proper way to deal with your worn out flag? I believe that there is. You don't put it in the trash. You don't burn it. You take it somewhere. Maybe to your VFW hall. But there is a place for you to take your flag. That much I know. I don't have a worn out flag to take. So I don't need to know where right at this moment. But it is good to know that there is a place to take a worn out flag. So you don't want to disgrace your flag. You don't even want to let it touch the ground, right? You all know that. And that flag represents what to you, Americans? Now I'm talking to you in our speak. All right. I'm not talking Black's Law. I'm not talking Bouvier. You know, I'm not jiving you. I'm talking to you straight the way we know to communicate. I can't communicate to you in Chinese. I can maybe say Wei Ni Hao or Bu Hao and know what that means. I might be able to say a couple other words in a couple other languages, but it ain't going to mean nothing to you. That one's the wrong color. I'm going to wait on that one for a little bit later. Well, it's not the wrong color. It's just not the one I need to exercise my lungs and do this in a certain order. Now, what does that flag represent to you? Does that represent your freedom, your liberty, honor, law? Now, what about these courts? You know they're not courts, right? You all got that figured out yet? If you're listening to me, I know you got that figured out. Hey, somebody jumped in the chat here. Put my eyeballs aids on here. Brent, hey, Canadian brother from another mother. Um, Brent says that's more than I know in Chinese. I got enough problems speaking a little French. Parlez-vous français? Um, Welcome, Brent. I'm glad you're here. Um, so, Americans, your freedom and your liberty, land of the free, home of the brave. Are you free and are you brave? Do you know your flag laws? I think for the vast majority of you, the answers are no, no, no. A trifecta. Strike three, you're a freaking slave. Mm. Now, in these buildings, they call a circuit court, a district court, a federal court. That's what they call it. And you believe it. So I think you need one of these. I do. I think you need one of these. You believe in it, right? Now, you're proud American. You respect your flag. You go into that building, circuit court, district court, federal court. And what do they got in there for a flag? Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Is it a Title IV flag? Do you know what a Title IV flag is? Do you know who Russell? I'm going to back up. I'm going to go quantum on you. Going quantum. Full colon. Russell. That will be with a capital R and then lowercase, I believe. Hyphen. J. Full colon. Gould. Period. Do you know who he is? Brent's putting some comments in here. Brent, are you trying to get me to lose my train of thought? You have to work a little bit hard. It might work. Let's see. Anti a little bit. That must be some French. Anti-pure. A little bit. My mom's father was. Yep, now thanks to Russell J. Gould. Okay, good. So our Canadian brother from another mother knows who Russell J. Gould is. Now, do you know who S.G. Anan is? Do you know who Captain Kyle is? Well, these guys got some exposure on social media. Unlike me, see my top video, I believe, is titled something to the effect of how to put your vehicle into private, your title into private. I got just over 1,000 views on that in just over a year. See, my information is so awesome is just suppressed because it empowers you. You got all these people out there telling you things, but who's empowering you? Say it over and over and over again. If you knew who you were, none of this paperwork would be necessary. Absolutely none of it. We would be living in prosperity and abundance. We wouldn't be living in a fear based society. We would be healthy and we would be happy. But the vast majority of you, you don't know who you are. You don't know your flag laws. You don't know what your flag is. Most of you don't know who Russell J. Gould is. There's a lot more of you probably know who SG&N is and Captain Kyle. And I only just recently started hearing talks from this Captain Kyle guy. But the point to this little segment here is that I was listening to SG&N and Captain Kyle, and I believe it was about a 2.5 hour talk. And somewhere, I think after an hour and a half, they got into questions and answers. And the question was raised to both of them: did Russell J. Gould capture the flag? Both SG&N and Captain Kyle say yes, without hesitation, without reservation. And then silence, and on to the next question. Why don't they talk about it? Who are these guys? SGN, anytime I listen, I don't detect fluctuation in his voice. It's like listening to Elon Musk. Flatline, monotone. Flatline, monotone. Like hypnotic, like they're hypnotized. Programmed. All right. Get back to these places called courts. What do you find in those courts? Do you find the stars and stripes? You do. And has that beautiful flag been corrupted? Has it been bastardized? You damn straight it has. In multiple ways. Now, a lot of people talk about that gold fringe around that flag. Some will tell you, oh, that's a military parade flag. Others will tell you that's Admi or maritime. Maybe. Maybe all those things are true. What do you know about the Styles Manual? What do you know about paperwork that gets sent to you by these government agencies or these corporations or these departments or these tyrannical parasites? What do you really know? Do you know if it's in a box, it ain't there? It ain't there. They send you a piece of paper. It's got a bunch of scary words, threatening words, and they put it in a box. Or no matter what it is, they put it in a box. By the Styles Manual, apparently that ain't on the paper. If it's italic, it ain't on the paper. If it's bracketed, it ain't on the paper. What have they done with that flag, with that gold fringe? They boxed it in. What is it? They captured it. It's not there. It doesn't, it's not there. It's captured. It doesn't represent you Americans in your, what you think is your court, which ain't your court. It's a corporation where there is no law. There is no truth. There is no fact. It's assumptions and presumptions and fiction of the dead. You got a judge in there in a black robe, cannot communicate with you. You have to be represented. That judge is a British agent. The judge has no license to practice law. There is no such thing as a license to practice law. So, it's just my critical thinking here. That flag, your American flag, has been captured. By who? What else is hanging on that flag? Gold tassels. I believe that represents the bar. British accredited registry. That is a meat market. That's a slave market. That's a bank. It's a morgue. It's a slavery operation. It's human trafficking. And you sheriffs, you got what in there? You got your deputies in there? In where? In a foreign vessel docked on our land. Yeah, docked. Docket. You get a docket. Where does the judge go? Into the judge's chambers. Chambers. That's a ship docked on our land. And we pay for it. We give them money to enslave us, to lie to us, to torture us, to rob us, to rape us, to destroy our lives. But most of y'all don't get to hear me. My shit don't get shared. It gets heavily shadow banned. However, approaching 300 videos now. Now, there was a couple videos when I first put my YouTube channel up that I took down and I deleted. That was when I came back from Jamaica. I was a very angry man. Very, very angry man. I was. Very angry. Oh, I was so angry. Frustrated beyond belief. And destroyed. Financially. Socially. Emotionally. They had me destroyed. I took those videos down. Had a misunderstanding with a couple of good men, and I put out a video. It was all truthful. One of those men asked me to take that video down. Out of respect for him, I did. I might be over 300 videos, but as it stands, prior to this one, the count on YouTube was 294 videos. Now, I've been kicked off a lot. Whoa, went down the wrong pipe. I've been kicked off or out of a lot of platforms. A lot of them. But my YouTube channel has never gone down. It just doesn't get the exposure. I'm just reading Brent's comments here. So, one of the things here, Brent says, that's why I wonder too. Only see Scott McKay talk about him. And Scott McKay doesn't talk about him very much. And it would appear that Scott McKay rides on both sides of the fence. I don't know what he's done to empower the people. This wake up tour seems like a put the people to sleep tour. Hold the wine. So if Russell captured the flag, SG9 and Captain Kyle confirm Russell captured the flag, how come nobody talks about it? All right. We're getting to a big tinfoil hat segment here. If you don't have a conspiracy theorist friend, I suggest you find one. Because the conspiracy theorists are batting about 1,000. Real close to it. Do you know who you are? Did you create government? Or did government create you? Can you have a right in your state, Americans, that I can't have in my state? That's what I thought. Paragraph XII. I think that's paragraph 12. Georgia Constitution. No, I'm not going to read you your constitutional right. I'm going to tell you about your unalienable right that was once constitutionally protected. You ready? Are you ready? Right to the courts. No person shall be deprived the right to prosecute or defend, either in person or by an attorney, that person's own cause in any other courts of this state. Unalienable, unalienable right to the courts that was once constitutionally protected. Where they didn't have the American flag bastardized and captured into non-existence, with British agents enslaving the American people. It was pretty much the same all around the world. This was once a constitutionally protected right. Maryland. I'll read this to you right here. Now, you can go to the website oralhealthwithcannabis.com, go to the services page, go to the documents section, look for 48 love letters. There's 48 state constitutions there, and you can review them, read them, word search them. It's all one document. You can word search it. There's 3 states that talk about your rights to the courts. People tell you to read your state constitution. I say read them all. You can't have a right in your state that I don't have in my state, and vice versa. Maryland, that all persons invested with the legislative or executive powers of government are the trustees of the public, and as such accountable for their conduct. Accountable for their conduct. Wherefore, whenever the ends of government are perverted and public liberty manifestly endangered, and all other means of redress are ineffectual, the people may, and of right, ought to reform the old or establish a new government. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of mankind. Now forget about the babble, forget about the bastardization of the words. What's the volition there? Your rights are unalienable, unalienable. You are the highest authority, people. Equal privileges and immunities. No law shall be enacted granting to any citizen, class of citizens, or corporation other than municipal privileges or immunities which, upon the same terms, shall not equally belong to all citizens or corporations. If you knew who you were, none of this paperwork would be necessary. None of it. None of these videos would be necessary. None of these talks would be necessary. None of this pain, suffering, misery would be necessary. Now we keep going up to the top. And what do we find? We find bar agents everywhere. We find sheriff's departments in these courts everywhere. There was a time when tar and feather had a purpose. There was a time when men were men, when they protected themselves, when they protected their families, when they protected their communities, when they protected the women and children and the elderly. There was a time when men were men, not frickin' slaves to British agents. Prince says, the image of God, the creator, and I know this is true, things I've survived. Here we go again. We're not alone. We're not alone. We ain't been alone. You think this is it? Oh my God. I want to know the truth about God. I want to know the truth about creation. I want to know the truth about our creator. The truth. What's the truth? Are we even capable of knowing? All right, now, a lot of you people out there in the rabbit holes learning about the courts and the administrative process and how to talk. I hear a lot of people saying, I overstand. I'm like, come on. Isn't there a better way to deal with that word spelling of saying I understand, and these British agents and their clowns in costumes translating that to being you stand under. How about I comprehend? What about I have the knowledge to supersede your knowledge? What about it? I mean, to say I overstand, I mean, that just, I mean, to me, it just sounds a little, I want to say childish. When we knew how to really rumble with the clubs and chains, our history is not what we were taught. That's right, Brent. Our history is not what we've been taught. Um, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing the deception. So I would just want to keep this stuff stupidly simple. My quantum kiss to the world. Keep it stupidly simple. Now, in quantum, those words probably have to be, I don't know even what word to use. Quantumized. How's that? They need to be quantumized. You don't want a verb, adverb, prefix. I got some stuff to learn about quantum, but that'll come. Uh, I know how to do a quantum autograph. I showed you all I captured my passport. Uh, I, uh, I own all my contracts in the quantum. Well, I can't say all my contracts. The ones that I showed you here, the things that I facilitated, um, they're on the bottom of the pile here. So, uh, for you Americans, Americans Notice of Liability, I was able to upgrade mine. And on the back side of my Americans Notice of Liability, I have my documentation registered number. This was all registered mail, where I got recognized as a foreign national to the United States in virtually all jurisdictions because I did it at the post office, the United States Post Office. That's the federal jurisdiction of the United States Post Office, the federal jurisdiction of the United States Post Office, in the jurisdiction of the village of Kalkaska, in the jurisdiction of the county of Kalkaska, in the jurisdiction of the state of Michigan. And my case, my registered case through the postal courts, through the post, went across state lines through every processing facility and was delivered to the arrest reward processing center. And it was all done with my tax and duty paid and no postage. And here's a picture of the mailer once it got there. In the return address says Foreign Office of Origin. You got the green card front and back, got the 3806, got the register receipt, $0, 0 cents, and I got a $1 stamp, my quantum autograph, and my seal. This is my court. This is a high court, a court of law. And in all those jurisdictions and more. Why more? Because the military is underneath the people. So it has to be recognized in the military jurisdictions as well. And now we got the global postal union. And I hear talk of the galactic postal union. We are not alone. Galactic postal union. I think we're alone. You don't even know the life on this planet. When we were kids, we'd go out and we'd catch bugs, and then we'd kill them or let them die, and then we'd stick a pin through them and put them on a styrofoam board and make a label and put that on the board as to what that insect was. Boards and boards and boards. Well, we didn't hardly have anything. They say 90 some percent, 95, 99% of all life that has ever existed on this planet has gone extinct. That means all life. Above ground, below the ground, in the waters, in the caves, in the air. And look at the vastness of life we have. Look at all the insects. Look at all the microbes. Look at all the new life that keeps getting discovered. And then you got the vastness of space there. You got apparently more stars than sand on this planet. More stars out there than sand on this planet. And apparently each one of them stars is a sun that potentially has planets revolving around it. Where do you get life? You're alone. Give me a break. Watch the skies at night. I see lights that ain't Elon's gizmos. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Definitely got to have this in. We're not alone. Ethan gets visitations. Ethan gets downloads. Ethan gets communications from something. I don't know what it is. It sure don't seem to be anything I was ever educated on. It's really bizarre. And there's a lot of it. But one of the most I want to say this started about a year ago. I was just sitting in my chair and I was compelled. I was drawn. There was an energy, a force, just compelling me to get up out of that chair, go over to the door, open up the door, and look up in the sky, which is what I did. And there, I think I see an unusual star, and it's capturing my attention. I'm looking at the star. My vision starts changing. Well, what I've been seeing with my eyes all my life what we know is eyesight, not X-ray vision, not thermal imaging vision, not night vision, not energy vision, just my eyesight, normal. And I'm fixated on this, what I'm thinking is an unusual star. But this thing ain't no star. It's way too close. It's way too big. It's way too bright. And there's times when I will say, not trance, but maybe it's not meditation. I don't think, because there's a clear focus. There's an energy transfer that's happening. I'm in the middle of 40 acres with a lot of very mature trees. These trees lit up. They lit up with Christ white light, bright energy is the only way I know how to describe it. Christ white light energy. I don't know how else to describe it. And then my knees were weak. And I had to get to a chair and sit down. And then it wasn't long after that, and I felt so drained. And then I slept. And I've been, these visitations have not stopped. And I get other visitations, and I get other communications, and I've talked about the 100 monkey effect. If you haven't heard that talk, just apparently monkeys on an island being observed, and a monkey, however it happened, come to the realization you can wash the sand off the fruit in the water. The other monkeys visually observing this did the same thing. When it got to 100 monkeys on other islands at great distances started doing the same thing. How can you explain that? How can you explain that? The monkeys ain't got no telephones, they ain't got no computers, they got no communication devices of any form, they got no carrier pigeons, they got nothing. So you got the collective consciousness in monkeys. They can use that to better their lives. But these British agents, this enslavement system has got us collectively so dumbed down, so brainwashed, so toxified that some of you need to see me in a tinfoil hat. Americans know who you are. In fact, people all over the world know who you are. Americans, learn your flag law. Learn who Russell is and what he's done. Learn his pretty much 3 decades of doing what he's done. And then come down another rabbit hole. Pay attention to Derek Johnson. And then see if you can't put that fear in your back pocket. Know who you are. And then educate the others. Bring them on board with you. That gold fringe flag. Have you ever heard anybody tell you that's boxed your flag in? I haven't. But we know it's bastardized. It doesn't belong there. It's not a Title IV flag. Your flag, Americans, is a Title IV flag. It has certain dimensions. It has no gold fringe. There is no gold tassel. And those flag spears, wings up, wings down, wings out, ball on top, they all have different meanings. One's Vatican, one's military, one's, like I said, I got more to learn. But those, just not the knowing, the knowledge of those facts for me is enough for me personally right now at this moment in time to be able to stand under the American Title IV flag, to stand for the American Title IV flag, to stand for my people, to stand for God's people, to stand for what's right, and to hold court of law. And when we start banding together, we can stop the suppression, stop paying these people to murder you, rape you, cage you, kidnap you, steal from you, have you living in constant fear. You can also find maxims of law on the services page in the documents section. You can also find a couple of talks, probably a year or older, on maxims of law in my channel. YouTube hides my videos. Most of the live videos. You got to look for the down arrow. Click the down arrow and then select live. Once you realize that we are in continuity of government, we're under martial law, we're in reconstitution, we're in devolution. Learn that when laws are silent, when courts are closed, that it's the maxims of law that apply, because the maxims of law never change. And a very important maxim is for a man to not know his everyday job is a deceit. You have these mail carriers putting mail fraud in your box. If it's got the all caps name, if it's got your name in all capital letters, that's constructive mail fraud. That's trespass. That's operating outside of jurisdiction. That's giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Talk to your mail carrier. Educate your mail carrier. Tell your mail carrier that you will be keeping every document that they put in there with the all caps name. You don't have to open it. You're going to keep everyone as evidence. If you video record that encounter with your mail carrier, I mean, a lot of you know your mail carrier on a first name basis. You give them a Christmas gift or a Christmas bonus, or invite them in for, or give them a snack, or people do that. Why don't you educate your postal delivery and let them know that they are participating in constructive fraud, in mail fraud, in trespass, in treason upon you and everybody else, that they violate their inalienable, unalienable rights with that fictitious babble, because that's what it is. All right. Back to the thinking board. I love you. I want you to stand up. I want to do a video and call it the Josh Eddy story. Because Josh Eddy has done some amazing things owning his authority, and he's got a YouTube channel. One of the first great videos was when a municipal officer came to his home to serve him, and he served a municipal officer, and this guy basically crapped his pants. He dropped the paperwork and he basically ran. He couldn't get out of there fast enough. It's hilarious. At that same time, Josh held court and dragged the parasites into his court, and those traffic citations that they were trying to impose on him just left the system. Later, Josh gets pulled over, something like 65 and a 30. He serves the policy officer, Americans Notice of Liability, and the guy's, I'm not going to ticket you. And Josh drives away. And then there's another one, and why isn't it coming to mind right now? Oh yeah, he just got stopped again recently, and this was like a 2-minute video. He served the guy, and the cop threw his hands up in the air, basically said, "Have a nice day," turned and walked away. Josh is owning his authority. He's an American hero. He truly is an American hero, and his story needs to be told. We would come together collectively instead of being lone wolves. We'd tear it right down and build it right up. So it's coming, it's happening. Let's see, I think I got to catch up on reading some more of Brent's comments here. Brent says, didn't learn that in school. Peace and love, absolutely. Babylon priest, black money magic has spelled the world into a waking dream. Yeah. He says he saves my vids, the ones that got info I can use for fighting banks and MasterCard. They really don't like me. We don't care. Of course, the enemy doesn't like you. And all of these people that are taking money to enslave you, participate in constructive fraud and human trafficking, I guess they all deserve what's coming to them, because we know that many of them have been educated, but they still continue to do what they do. So no amnesty, That's my say. That's my yay. I say nay to amnesty. Own your authority, people. I love you. I'll be back. I will be back. Don't fall on the sword.